Welcome to episode 89 of the Everything Business Consulting podcast. I'm joined by Jason Owens, the manager for ConsultX in the US of A. How are you going today, Jason?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. I'm excited to talk to you about a question that we get quite often from people wanting to know if they can get into the world of business consulting, and that really is simply, am I suitable? What do I need? What kind of background should I have?
Right.
My personal background, to give you a little bit of context, is I came from managing a small business. It had about 10 staff. I worked my way up in that business. I literally learnt from the ground floor about how to do the technical work and that, and then I learnt more of the sales and management side of stuff, and then got to the point where I was promoted to the position of the general manager. So I went for literally having to do a technical apprenticeship that was as a mechanic to doing an entire business apprenticeship where I learned everything from how to do the accounts and what I was looking at in terms of profitability and marketing and how to connect with potential customers and sell to them, right through to finance, how to look at the best products and services for cash flow, and how to differentiate ourselves from the market. So in my opinion, I had a very well-rounded background of having touched a whole lot of things in this small business because I literally got to do a little bit of everything. And I think, I don't know what your opinion is on this, Jason, but I think being the kind of person that has had a broad range of experience, it doesn't have to be over every facet, but that certainly comes across as a major advantage. What do you think?
So I'm a very similar boat as you. I was educated as far as marketing. I went to business school for business marketing, and I started off actually as an artist. Strangely, not anywhere close to marketing, but I started off as an artist in a business which was very heavily driven by the art they did in order to create their products. So I started off there, became an art director, went to VP of operations, and yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like I grew up in a business, and I literally have worked every level, whether I did trade shows or buying trips. I went to sourcing conferences. Like I literally did all different pieces in order to make us, the best we could be. And in the end, I ended up being president of that company. I looked around for many different ways that we could continue to grow and do things. And in the end, we ended up selling it. So it wasn't our objective to start that business to sell it, but in the end, it was the best route for us. And I feel like I was involved in, whether it was our pricing structure, whether it was our sales team, marketing, branding, operations, R&D, what equipment we wanted to buy and bring in to help streamline our operation. I was involved in all different facets of a company. And in the end, ended up selling that company and going to work for one of the companies that bought us, as it was split between two. And in the end, I ended up consulting with this company that bought us because they were asking me these questions, and I'm just like, man, I was this small little business, and we got bought by someone way larger than us, and I literally was like, I don't understand why this is a struggle for you guys. Like, you should have this figured out. And I knew then that I should be a consultant because the years of experience you get at running a business, I don't think can compare to anything else. I mean, listen, in our network, we have people that have come from all different backgrounds, right? And but in the end, I believe entrepreneurs, I believe ex-business owners, successful business owners. I mean, if you failed at 20 different businesses, you still probably have something to bring to the table. But I think that successful business owners literally have this umbrella of knowledge because they know that all parts have to work together in order to be successful. And in my consulting experience, I want to make all different parts of the business come together and work as one, right? This is one big gear rolling down the hill. It's not about if this department or that department is working. It's about if we're all working together. So what kind of background you need in order to be a consultant is very broad, right? You can be a corporate executive that have worked your whole life in 40, 50 years of knowing and understanding making your EBITDA and understanding the goals and the investors and all that. But at the end, if you want to help that type of business, cool, that's all good. If you're a small business owner and you want to help new, inexperienced business owners run their business, then you have all the knowledge to bring to them as well. If you go back to this corporate executive who has been in it forever and has worked with a couple companies that have gone public. You want a young company that's going to go public or want to take them public? Hey, that is your route. That's your business plan. That's your mode. But not every business consultant has to be that way. I mean, frankly, a lot of the businesses that I've helped are very much in that professional services group. And when I say that, I mean like plumbing, electrical, carpentry. It is those guys I feel were like an open book because they were not people that felt like their business was amazing. They just knew how to do their trade as well as they could, and they decided to go out on their own. That doesn't mean they understand branding. That doesn't mean they understand marketing. That doesn't mean they understand sales or pricing their own products for that matter. So you always have a level of experience that can bring value to business owners out there that are struggling. And I say this often, and I say that, I don't recommend someone going at a business owner and saying, I want to help you with employee mental health, and you're going to pay me this astronomical fee. Because, frankly, it's not really the business owner's main objective, right? Like that's not the biggest pain point they have that day. They probably have all kinds of problems they're trying to solve. Yet, they need help, and they don't necessarily know in what area they need that help in. So is mental health an issue? Is positive energy the right thing? Yes, probably. But it's probably in their customer service, or it's probably in their sales department, or it's probably in their employees that are in the operations and really are struggling to, why am I here? So I think that there's a million different people, different avenues you can get to be a business consultant and be successful. But in the end, if you don't have some tools and some background and some knowledge and experience that can literally talk to all the different areas, I feel like you're very limited in what you're going to bring to the table. So I love talking to entrepreneurs in what we do. I think that it's the best plan to be able to speak to them because they've probably had to answer questions in all of the different categories within a business.
I want to bring up two of the points that you mentioned in that, Jason. The first is the entrepreneurial aspect of it, and I think that's really important. Whether you've worked in your own business or whether you've got that entrepreneurial spark and maybe you've been more of an intrapreneur, you've been working in someone else's business but been across a large amount of it and been looking for those opportunities that have grown yourself or give you the ability to see more than just whatever you're doing on that particular day or whatever that particular role needs. I think that's really important because that's a lot of like you say, these business owners that are experts at their trade or their profession, they don't have that ability to see broadly. They don't know what's possible. What I've seen many times is when someone has the potential to build a really great business, whether it's a product or a service or a skill that they have that they can leverage, but they simply don't know how to leverage it. They don't know how to grow the business. They don't know that it's even possible to get finance to do some growth plan or to finance some sort of, maybe it's just as simple as they would like to sell more products, but they don't know that it's possible to get some sort of creditor finance arrangement to be able to bring more stock in and open up a few more locations or whatever the challenge is. They're simply just running around chasing their tail, doing what they've always done, and they can't see that there is a bigger picture out there. So I think that's very important. Now, the second thing that I was thinking there, Jason, is you mentioned being a successful business person or someone who succeeded as an entrepreneur. And I don't think that always having succeeded every single time is absolutely necessary. I was
Oh
talking
yeah.
to I
You
was
learn
talking to
more
a
by failing than you do by succeeding.
absolutely. I was talking to a business owner today, a consultant rather today, and his last massive business, which was a really substantial one here in New Zealand, that went into liquidation, and he was bankrupted by a couple of his creditors.
Hmm.
And he said it was like one of the hardest thing he'd ever been through in his life. He said like there was not much that he was hanging on to during this
Yeah.
time period. But when he's talking to other business owners now, he can relate. When they're going through a hard time, he can be like, look, I've been there. I've been in an even harder situation and I got through it. This is how I did it. You can get through it too. Like these are the strategies that he used, and he was telling me about how he'd basically used that to get some clients because he could just relate to them on a level where he knew their struggle. He'd been there and he'd lived that. He'd had to roll with the punches, and he had all the scars to show them. So I thought that was a really interesting thing that he was able to leverage some of that hardship to get some clients on board and then build really solid relationships, like long lasting consulting relationships with them.
Yeah. Well, and as a consultant, I think, again, like I mentioned the tradespeople, and you're saying that they they know their trade well, right? Like they might be the best electrician, they might be able to wire a house quicker than anyone, but they do not know sales, marketing, and HR, human resources, or many different things, finances mostly. But the other group that really it falls into that category are inventors, right? So they created a product and they feel that, wow, I got this amazing product, and they aren't seeing the sales, they're not seeing the the momentum that they thought would come. And so what do? They just go back to the drawing board and think they got to reinvent another product. But in reality, a lot of times they don't know how to sell it. They don't know how to build a sales team. They don't know how to brand their company or market to the masses. So it's you never know where a company is going to struggle, and that is why I always say to the consultants, get in there, identify the problems as an overall picture, and at the end of that, you identify where you can add value, but more importantly, as we talk about at ConsultX a lot, is building your professional services group, right? So you want to have a group of people that if you know a company, all you have to have is enough smarts to identify that these guys do not know how to read a profit and loss statement. They do not know how to understand how to balance a budget or whatever it may be. But that is when you need to bring in a party that can help them in a specific category if that's not your forte. Like, you don't have to be excellent at every avenue. You just need to be able to identify it. And that is literally the biggest thing as a consultant is you're going in with an open mind and objectively looking at a business, and it's up to you to identify, man, they're struggling over here. And who do I know that can help them over here? Maybe it's yourself, maybe it's not, but that's what you're really going after.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I was going to mention that I think it's really important that whilst having a reasonably broad understanding of different areas of a business is really important, You don't need to be the expert in each of those areas. You don't have to be the one that gives that advice on developing a marketing plan or sales or accounting if you're not really strong there. You need to have
Yeah.
the ability to sense if something's not right there, or to see that no one in the business is doing anything with marketing and you need more sales and you need to generate more leads. Well, then it's fairly obvious that you need a marketing plan.
Right.
Perhaps you've got some of that and you can direct it, or perhaps you do need to contact some sort of marketing agency or a digital agency to help give you some strategy, and that's perfectly fine as well. And like you say, a good consultant will have a group of other professionals around them. It's almost like you're the hub of a wheel, and you've got these spokes going out to all of these different services that when you need someone who might be an expert at HR, or when you need an expert accountant, or when you need whatever it is, you can just give them a call, and perhaps you can even set up a referral relationship with them where they're passing you leads as well. When they walk into some HR situation and they realize that this company has got much bigger problems, they can say, "Hey, Jason, I've got the perfect customer
Absolutely.
for you."
Absolutely. It works in all directions, and that actually will bring in the second point about business owners that failed. You know, their biggest if they have their boots on and they're ready to go and they're going back into battle. I think the people that failed in business, they will the scars that their failures left them in their first or second or third attempt, they will never, be narrow minded again and not be open to, well, it was my branding that was off, or it was my message, my marketing. They will be the first ones. And again, who makes the best consultant? The people that can objectively look at a business and identify where the inefficiencies are. That's our goal, is to identify where they're lacking, where they're struggling, and have a clear plan on, okay, I know we need to fix this. Who's going to fix it? Am I going to fix it, or am I going to bring a team in and we're going to fix it together? It's literally the people that succeed build rapport with the business owners in order to flush out all the issues within that business, and then how you fix them. Like building that task list on how we're going to achieve their goals. That's the bottom line of how to be a successful business consultant.
There's one word you mentioned in there, and I think that's incredibly important to both to getting clients and being a successful consultant, and that is building rapport, building a relationship. I think it's a skill. You don't have to
Yeah.
be born great at it, but I think being able to form relationships with people, so not only you can really understand what the business owner wants, but also so you can get under the skin of the business and even the people in the business, just forming a relationship with everyone right down to the ground floor, so you can find out how they think things are going, what they perceive the business to be doing well at, and where the opportunities are to improve. Because often those people see things that the owner from the top doesn't see. And as a consultant, you need to have that broad view, that 500 foot, that 50,000 foot view of
Yep.
what's going on in the business. But then in the bigger picture, in this consulting arrangement, being able to build a really solid relationship so you can keep the client for the long term. That just is such a no-brainer. Like we've talked
Well,
about this many times, Jason.
that's a very loaded statement you just said, for the long term, right? Because how many consultants do you talk to that go in, they commit 80, 90 hours a week to a business, and they're like, oh, I got a client, I got a client. And then they work 90 hours a week for 6 months. And at the end of that 6 months, they're unemployed. And now all of a sudden they're back out in the street going, well, now I need to find another one of those. So I think, that is, nail on the head right there.
So, Jason, if you were to summarize what you think makes a really great consultant, what would you say?
I would say that if you believe you look at business as a CEO, and I don't mean your business, I mean any business. Frankly, I walk into a restaurant and I literally start tearing the business apart. If you look at any business you come in contact with as a CEO and you you immediately identify, man, that's messed up, this is wrong, blah blah blah. If you do that, you need to be a business consultant because that is what it's all about.
I think we may have talked about this before, but we've got that concept of wearing the business consulting glasses where you walk
Mm-hmm.
in somewhere and you're just looking for opportunity. You're looking for the potential things to improve, the potential areas that they need help. And I think if you can train yourself to put those glasses on, but more often than not, it's like an innate thing where
Yeah.
if you're that way inclined, you're already doing that. I think it's almost like it's like a trigger that you need to become a business consultant. It's like something underlying that's within you. But I totally agree. You need that. You need some sort of enthusiasm to help other people and to lead
Yeah.
them, uh,
Absolutely.
and that top down view, that objectivity, I think is really important, and the ability to build relationships. It's and all of that stuff can be learnt, but I think most people that get into consulting are pretty strong in all of those areas right from the get go.
Right. Right. I think if you want to help people, whatever your background was, whether you were a corporate executive, whether you were a management in some area of business, and you always identified where the issue was, and at the end of the day, all you really wanted to do was help the business succeed, consulting is the perfect path because you can walk into many businesses. And I always say that I was a business nerd, and I love all different types of businesses. I don't just love my own business. So I can go, and I've worked with golf courses and concrete companies and breweries and beauty, not necessarily a hair place, but a beauty kind of business, a beauty manufacturing company. And it didn't matter. It was all about delivering their product, delivering the best product. Where was our bottleneck? Where was the inefficiency in that business? And how can we make the brand and strength of the business better? And it's like if you have that in you, then frankly, I want to talk to you because I think that you're destined to be a great business consultant.
I'm absolutely the same, Jason. I think I get excited about the opportunity and the potential to help other people, but also excited about the different businesses and the ability for different businesses to have different models and different services and products or whatever it is, and for them all to work. I
Yeah.
just love seeing that.
My parents were factory workers most of their lives, right? And I knew very early on in my life I did not want to go to work and work from 7 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, doing the same thing every day. And when I started business, I absolutely, when I was in business for myself, you're switching your white hat every 15 minutes. You're going every direction. But when you're a business consultant and you get to work with 10 different businesses at a time, and they vary as widely as I just said, man, it kept me. It was that adrenaline that just kept me going. I was just so excited to be like, well, I'm getting bored with this brewery over here, but I'm gonna go talk to this golf course now, and I can't wait to figure out what products they need. And that is like, I don't know if that's for everyone. Some people probably are better off doing three or four businesses or being more focused. And I just always wanted to dive into the next problem, the next challenge, no matter what that business was.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you're in the right profession, Jason. And if anyone wants to talk to you about consulting, I'd invite them to reach out to you. You can find him on ConsultX.com. Thank you very much for joining us today, Jason. I look forward to chatting to you again soon.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.